The airport terminal never truly slept. Even at dawn, it hummed with the low music of rolling suitcases, muffled announcements, and the tired breathing of travelers stretched across metal chairs. For most people, it was just another place to pass through. For Daniel Carter, it was where he worked, and where his life now quietly existed. Daniel pushed his cleaning cart down the aisle between the seats, the wheels squeaking softly. His uniform was clean but faded, the name tag scratched from years of use. Strapped to his chest was his 2-year-old son Noah, fast asleep in a worn blue carrier. The child's tiny fingers curled into Daniel's shirt, as if even in sleep he feared being let go. Daniel moved slowly, carefully, like someone trained never to rush, without reason. Every few steps, he stopped to wipe an armrest, pick up a dropped cup, or straighten a chair. Most passengers didn't notice him. A few offered polite smiles. Others looked through him as if he were part of the furniture. Daniel didn't mind. Invisible meant peaceful. Across the lounge, a man sat alone near the window. He was tall, broad-shouldered, his silver hair cropped short. He wore a dark civilian suit, but nothing about him was casual. His posture was straight, alert. His eyes missed nothing. Rear Admiral Thomas Hale, United States Navy SEALs. Even out of uniform, command followed him like a shadow. Hale had seen men from every walk of life, warriors, politicians, heroes, cowards, and as Daniel passed by for the 3rd time, something about the janitor tugged at his instincts. The way he moved, the way he scanned the room without looking like he was scanning, the way his hand instinctively protected the child when someone walked too close. That wasn't learned pushing a mop. When Daniel stopped nearby to empty a trash bin, Hale spoke up, his tone light, almost amused. "Hey," he said, "you ever serve?" Daniel froze for half a second, so brief most people wouldn't notice, but Hale noticed. Daniel turned, surprised but polite. "No, sir," he answered. Hale smiled faintly. He'd heard that answer before. He leaned back in his chair. "Funny, you walk like someone who did." A couple of nearby passengers glanced over, curious. Daniel felt their eyes and shifted slightly, rocking Noah gently. "I just tried to do my job well," Daniel said. Hale chuckled. "Fair enough." Then, half joking, half testing, he added, "So what was your call sign?" The words hung in the air. A young businessman nearby laughed. "Guess mine would be Dustbuster," he joked. More chuckles followed. Daniel didn't laugh. His eyes dropped to his son's sleeping face. For a moment, the noise of the terminal faded, the announcements blurred into distant echoes. Somewhere deep inside, a door he kept locked tightened under pressure. Hale watched closely. "It was a joke," Hale said, waving a hand casually. "Relax. Now." Daniel inhaled slowly, then exhaled. "If you really want to know," he said quietly, "it was Lone Eagle." Silence fell like a sudden drop in altitude. Hale's smile vanished. The Admiral's spine straightened as if pulled by a wire. His eyes widened, not in shock, but in recognition, in disbelief. "Say that again," Hale said, his voice low. Daniel met his gaze. For the first time, there was no tiredness in his eyes, no apology, just calm. "Lone Eagle," he repeated. Hale stood up so fast his chair scraped loudly against the floor. Passengers stared now. A woman clutched her purse. A TSA officer glanced over, uncertain. "That's not funny," Hale said sharply. "That call sign belonged to a man who stayed behind," Daniel finished softly, "to hold a mountain pass while his team extracted." Hale's breath caught. That mission was classified, buried so deep only a handful of admirals and operators knew the details. "You're dead," Hale whispered. "We buried you." Daniel adjusted the strap on Noah's carrier. His hand trembled slightly, not from fear, but from memory. "Burials don't always mean bodies," he said. Hale searched his face like a man staring at a ghost. Scars lined Daniel's hands, old, precise, not from labor but from war. His shoulders carried weight no janitor should bear. "Afghanistan," Hale said slowly. "Night operation, comms down, air support aborted." Daniel nodded once. "You took enemy fire for 27 minutes, Hale continued, voice barely audible. "Long enough for the team to get out." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Longer than planned." A hush spread across the lounge. No one spoke now. Even the airport seemed to quiet itself. Hale stepped closer. "We never found your body." "I made sure you wouldn't," Daniel replied. "Why disappear?" Hale demanded. Daniel looked down at his son. A shadow crossed his face. Grief, love, exhaustion. "Because heroes don't get to come home," he said, "but fathers do." Hale's eyes burned. Slowly, deliberately, he raised his hand and saluted. Right there in the terminal, passengers gasped. Phones came out. The janitor with the sleeping child stood frozen as one of the highest-ranking SEAL officers in the world honored him. "Welcome back, Lone Eagle," Hale said. Daniel didn't return the salute. He only shook his head gently. "That man doesn't exist anymore," he said. "This one does." The announcement for boarding echoed overhead. Hale lowered his hand but didn't step away. "The Navy never forgot you." Daniel offered a faint smile. "I know." And as he pushed his cart forward, blending once more into the moving crowd, Hale remained standing, still frozen in place. Because a legend had just walked past him, wearing a janitor's uniform, carrying his entire world on his chest. Rear Admiral Thomas Hale stood motionless as Daniel Carter pushed his cleaning cart away, the squeak of its wheels slowly swallowed by the sound of the terminal. Around him, passengers whispered, phones lowered, unsure whether they had just witnessed something real or imagined. Hale exhaled, for the first full breath he'd taken in minutes. Lone Eagle was alive. The name echoed through his mind like a call from another lifetime. Lone Eagle, the operator who had refused extraction, who had broken protocol and rewritten the meaning of duty. Hale had signed the report himself. KIA. Presumed dead. Case closed. Except it wasn't. Hale followed. "Daniel!" he called out. The janitor stopped, but did not turn immediately. He gently rocked Noah as the child stirred, then faced the Admiral. "I can't talk long," Daniel said calmly. "My break's almost over." Hale nodded. "Then I'll walk." They moved together down the terminal, two men from opposite worlds bound by a shared past. People parted unconsciously as they approached, sensing something heavy in the air. "Your team still asks about you," Hale said quietly. "Some of them never believed the report." Daniel's eyes remained forward. "Belief keeps men alive in combat. It also keeps them trapped afterward." "You could have come back," Hale said. "You earned a lifetime of honor." Daniel stopped again. He turned slowly this time, his voice steady but sharp. "I earned a grave, Admiral. The rest was borrowed time." Noah whimpered softly. Daniel placed a finger against his son's chest until the child settled. "My wife," Daniel continued. "She waited 2 years. Every knock on the door, she hoped it was me. When she died in a car accident, hope died with her." Hale felt the weight of those words strike deeper than any battlefield report. "I buried her alone," Daniel said. "Then I buried the man I used to be." They resumed walking. "You disappeared off every radar," Hale said. "No pension, no medical claims, nothing." Daniel smiled faintly. "Ghosts don't file paperwork." Hale reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, worn coin, a SEAL challenge coin, scratched and old. He turned it in his hand. "You left this behind," Hale said, "at Bagram. I kept it." Daniel stopped abruptly, his eyes locked onto the coin. "That coin saved my life," Daniel said. "It jammed around, meant for my heart." Hale held it out. "Then it belongs with you." Daniel hesitated before taking it. His fingers closed around the metal, as if reclaiming a piece of himself he thought lost forever. For a moment neither man spoke. "Why janitor work?" Hale asked finally. "Because it's honest," Daniel replied, "and it doesn't follow me home." They reached the gate. Hale's boarding group was already lining up. "Come with me," Hale said suddenly. "There are programs, quiet ones. You and your son wouldn't struggle anymore." Daniel shook his head. "Struggle keeps me human," he said. "Power reminds me of things I don't want Noah to inherit." Hale crouched slightly to look at the sleeping child. "He has your eyes," Hale said. "Oh, he has my second chance," Daniel replied. The final boarding call echoed. Hale stood tall and did something that stunned everyone nearby. He removed his jacket, revealing the unmistakable outline of military posture beneath, and dropped to one knee in front of Daniel. A full kneeling salute. Passengers froze. Gate agents stared. Even security paused. "This man," Hale said loudly, his voice carrying, "saved American lives at the cost of his own future. Remember that." Daniel's throat tightened. "Please don't," he said softly. "He deserves a normal life." Hale rose. "Then let this be the last salute." He slipped a card into Daniel's pocket. "No ranks, no questions," Hale said. "Just a number. If your son ever needs help, call." Daniel nodded once. As Hale turned toward the jet bridge, he stopped and looked back. "Lone Eagle," he said quietly. Daniel didn't answer. Instead, he bent his head toward Noah and whispered, "You ready to go home, buddy?" The child smiled in his sleep. That night, after his shift ended, Daniel boarded a bus with Noah bundled against his chest. He sat near the back, watching the city lights blur past the window. At a red light, a young man in uniform boarded the bus. He noticed Daniel's posture, the scars, the way he held the child. "Sir," the soldier said hesitantly, "were you ever in the service?" Daniel smiled gently. "A long time ago." The soldier nodded with respect and moved on. Daniel leaned back, closing his eyes. He was no longer Lone Eagle. He was a father who showed up. A man who cleaned floors. A ghost who chose life. And somewhere, deep in the archives of the Navy, a file remained sealed.